Hey guys, Matthew here, and today I want to bring you guys basically a little extra video about the whole ore stacker situation. I went ahead and did basically a somewhat perfect POV of what a new ore stacker would look like in 3.13 with gear that is probably worth in the ballpark of 10 to 15-ish mirrors. Who knows how much it's going to be worth. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So as you can see, we can actually still, reach some respectable damage at 300 million damage here. This is at level 91, but realistically, this is actually a level 100 character because it's missing one node in each of the clusters. And the reason I didn't put in the node is to simulate the new clusters if you were to use notables like Replenishing Presence, which I've estimated is going to be cut to 6% ore effect, and First Among Equals, which I've estimated is going to be cut at 8% ore effect, with a total of 3 notables of 3% each, because if you're going double notable, you can't get extra ore effect, so you're stuck with that 3%. For a total of 23%. Instead here we have 4 nodes at 6% for a total of 24, so it's barely any better than what you could get. Now of course, if Replenishing Presence and First Among Equals are nerfed even more, that's a completely different story. But as you can see, we can still reach some pretty decent damage if we are willing to put a lot of currency in the build. Now if we went over the items real quick, we have a Perfect Nebulous, a +4 Prism Guardian, a Alpha's Howl, perfect +4 Shavs, +6 Hands of the Crusader alongside Spell Crit. We've got some boots with Tailwind Elusive on top of 35 move speed and +1 Dexterity, Chaos Resistance, blah blah blah. Essentially almost perfect gear. We have 22 Vitality Amulet with Mana Reserve, double penetration, and charges on kill because we can't get them on the tree. We've got a Wrath and an Anger called the Brotherhood. We've got a Headhunter. We've got Bottled Faith, Azir's Promise, and Cinder Swallow. All of these are completely perfect. And then our jewels, for example, we have a Watcher's Eye, which is a tri-stat, crit multi Anger, crit chance Hatred, and pen Hatred. We've got all 1-stat voices, and of course we have RMR on all our jewels. And as for the Kobolds, they are basically perfect multi for spells, which goes up to 15%. Perfect ES, which is 8%, and perfect Chaos Resistance. Or not perfect, sorry, on the Chaos Resistance. The reason is that we are going low life, so we do want to get that juicy Chaos Resistance. As you can see, we're getting at 75. You could give up that Chaos Resistance and go for another multi-stat if you wanted to play a little bit more Glass Cannon, but since we are not CI, we gotta take care of that chaos damage that is going to be incoming. You'll see that even with all of this insane gear, we are rocking only 4.5k energy shield. 8,000 energy shield, forget it. 10,000 energy shield, forget it. 6,000 energy shield, forget it. But 300 million damage. Now, there's only a little bit of a trick to that. I happen to have like a 15 link, alright? So I was kind of trying to meme here, and I put like a million different support gems, and they're all also perfect. And the idea was to showcase that even with ridiculous 15 links, we still can't reach even half of the damage that my build actually had at its highest state on my Delving character. Note that this is including all alternate quality gems on every single gem to try to min-max as much damage as possible. Now, you might be like, yo, Matt, stop trolling, show us the actual DPS, so let me go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go ahead and remove all of the gems which you wouldn't use and go back to a regular 6 link, and you'll see that the damage goes all the way down to 58 million. Now, you might be like, yeah, but 58 million is a pretty reasonable amount of damage, right? Well, 58 million is about half the damage you would get on a bow build with 10% of the investment that we have on this build. So, no, it's not very good. On top of that, I can't predict how badly they are going to nerf alternate quality gems. I have them all on here, but since we are going low life, we do have to use things like blood magic, so we do lose some gem sockets. So the enhanced shenanigans that we were able to do in the past are completely gone. Unfortunately, things like Divergent Purity of Ice alongside Divergent Purity of Elements paired together on some enhance would make some insane damage numbers. Actually, if I was to just show you guys here, if I was to put Purity of Elements on this, on Divergent, and then slap on an Enhance, you'll see that our damage goes up significantly by literally 20%, because that's how OP alternate quality gems were last league. Unfortunately, we can't do that. And the main reason for that is because we actually don't have enough aura effect to be able to reach 90% all resistance unless we put all our purities socketed in our Alpha's Howl at level 21. You'll see that if I take this Purity of Ice and I lower it down by a single level, at level 20, it doesn't even reach that 90% threshold. And the reason for that is simple. We can't even reach 4.0 on the aura effect, even with perfect gear, one socket voices, all that stuff. Now, I've heard people say the build is fine, you just need to go with new notables instead. And then go with the 4th voices. So I actually ran the numbers by doing that instead and getting 4 socket jewels, 4 passive clusters, and putting 2 notables and 1 3% node, because the 4th would be the jewel socket. And I actually ended up with the exact same amount of aura effect, except instead of being level 100, it was like level 103, because you were needing to input more skill points, even if you were to remove a bunch of skill points on these jewels down here. So what happened here, essentially, what you could do is just give up some of those RMR jewels, but you'll see that right now on this build, I don't even have enough mana to cast anything. This build is not even functional, and it's only doing, at this point, without all the memes and my 15 link setup on my chest, I'm actually doing 1/10 of the damage that my Aura Stacker was doing at its highest point in Heist League. So, is Aura Stacker still viable? Technically, yes. If you're willing to put mirrors and mirrors and mirrors, you could get to a reasonable amount of damage. I mean, 60 million Cyrus DPS, even in full burst, is fairly respectable. But you are thinking about 1 socket voices. You're thinking about gloves that are at least a mirror. You're taking about a chest piece of +4 Shaz, which is worth anywhere between 2 and 4 mirrors. We're talking about items that are absolutely ridiculously priced. Now, you could think that these prices are going to go down, but things like Shavs, +4 Shavs, were never these prices because of Aura Stackers. They are these prices just due to demand for pretty much any build. So yes, some of these items, for example, Call of the Brotherhood with Corruption, are going to go down, but the vast majority are not. So now that we've ran some pretty insane numbers and still end up with some pretty lackluster damage on Spark, let's go ahead and show you guys what it would look like if we had no access to alternate quality gems, because they did say that they are nerfing them. We don't know how much. So I took the exact same insane gear, and I went ahead and did the same POB, but I removed all of the alternate quality gems. You'll see that now we're at 40 million, so we already lost a good chunk of our damage by losing the alternate quality gear. Alternate quality gems. The rest of the gear is the exact same. You see that we're rocking nearly 500 crit multi, which that alone is insane. These jewels here with 1% mana reserved, crit multi, ES, and chaos resistance are, I mean, obviously we are getting harvest back, so they're going to be a lot more obtainable, but these are very, 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 very hard to do, considering you would have to craft basically 60 of them on average to get one of them to roll RMR whenever you corrupt them. That's bad. Now, this 40 million damage is also in pure 100% full burst mode. If we were wanting to be a little bit more realistic here, we would have to actually remove Val Righteous Fire, as we do not have it while clearing, and remove Val Haste, as we do not really have it either, and we end up with a very flaccid 22 million damage. Now, most Penance brand builds do more damage than that with literally a handful of Exalt's investment. This damage right here is absolutely garbage. So don't let anyone fool you and tell you that this build is still alive. It's not. It's really, really not. Even with 10 plus mirrors investment, it's garbage. And at that point, you're better off looking at another build that'll cost you 10% of the price to do the same amount of damage and to be tankier, because you do have to remember that we're not rocking 8,000 energy shield anymore. We're rocking 4,500 energy shield, and we're not at 90% physical damage reduction. We are at 64% physical damage reduction. Of course, this does not include a Basalt Flask, as that would actually take away some damage, but we could put a Basalt instead of the Quicksilver, increase that up to 79%, but we are still going to get slapped around. If we look at the calculations right now, our effective health pool is, well, not super impressive. It's not awful at 80,000, but our maximum hit taken is only 13,000. So Ecosis in 100% delirious maps with a couple damage mods, and you are dead and gone. So yeah, build's dead. That's pretty much the conclusion of that. Before I go, I want to say a huge thank you to my supporters: Cluzy, Luro, Gaikona, JW Player, Scott, Justin, Alex, Ollie, Matt, Kevin, Bit, and Axel, as well as anybody else who wishes to remain anonymous, and of course anybody else who has supported me in the past. Hopefully this helps the clarification of why ore stacking is dead. Yeah, honestly, don't even really look into it. Don't even think about it. Don't invest into it. It is a dead build, and only the richest of the rich are going to be able to really make it work. And even then, like I said, most other builds will cost 10% of that and do more damage and probably have just as much, if not more, survivability, especially because those other builds get to actually stack defensive layers, something that Ore Stacker cannot do due to lack of both sockets available in the build and, of course, skill points available in the build. So yeah, build's dead. Again, later, boys. Peace out.